Peace in our time. Well, we'll see. Before we talk about the House of Dragon tonight, I want to express my extreme sincere and heartfelt condolences with the people of Southport in the north of England. I've only just seen the news about 30 minutes ago because I've been working all day. And for those people who don't know, a load of children were attending a dance class in the city, and that class was attacked by a person wielding a knife. 2 children have been killed. Another 9 have been injured, 2 of them in critical condition. This is an absolutely appalling act of violence, which I personally condone from the, well, highest means possible to me, which are little, unfortunately. I think it says something a lot about our society when our children cannot attend a class safely in their summer holidays, a children's yoga class to Taylor Swift of all things, and you send your child off to that school only to, get that news. I can't even imagine what that's like. And I'm sorry if this brings a downer on this stream, but I find that absolutely appalling. And I don't know what caused this person to do this, but I hope the reasons are discovered. And if it's a mental health issue, then I certainly hope we plough more money in that direction. Anyway, sorry, we will go to the topic at hand. But I was extremely affected by that news, and it was utterly awful to hear about. So let me bring in my guests. We have Blue Collar Loser and Leroy Peters. Forgive me my indulgence, guys, but
no apologies necessary.
We don't have many things like that happen in the UK because, of course, most people don't have access to firearms. So kids being killed in a dance class is a pretty rare thing over here. Yeah, and that's also a part of the country that's pretty close to my heart because it's near Liverpool. And
Lance, my prayers and thoughts are to those victims as well. I know here in America, unfortunately here in America, that's something we Americans are sad to say used to seeing now. Only difference is
right. I've had discussions with people about that, and it's the internet. You have to be careful how you word this. And I would never say, as a father myself, that I don't care anymore, but you hit a level where it's like when it's happening like 2 times a week for like 6 months straight, at a certain point mentally, you're just like, guys, I can't listen to it anymore because it's happened 20, 30, 40 fucking times in a row. At some point,
you know what I mean? Again, I don't want to get too off topic, but I just, I just caught this on the news. I've been working all day, streaming all day, doing different kind of.
Lance, if I may say just one thing. When they bring in mental illness, as someone who suffers from mental illness myself, I think that's just a load of cop out.
Oh, listen, we don't know if those are the circumstances yet.
Well, still, they shouldn't use that.
I can't think why a 17-year-old kid with their mental faculties would go into a children's dance class and do this kind of thing.
I just think some people are born evil.
Well, I mean, listen, that's possible. There's certainly some evil characters in House of Dragon, which we'll turn to shortly. But it's
again, my sympathies and my prayers go with you and your fam and your people out in Southport.
Yes, at Southport. I just wanted the people of Southport to know that they're not alone, and all of the United Kingdom will be with them, just as all of the United Kingdom are behind the postmasters who have been affected by that particular tragedy. This is something that will unite the whole country in grief, I'm sure. And it's terrible. Things that affect children like this are terrible. And of course, we hear about it in Gaza all the time at the moment. But this is just a wanton act of brutality. It's terrible. Anyway, let's talk about the non-violent TV show that is House of Dragon.
Not violence. Who cares?
Silly, but
it was the best episode of the entire show.
This was a great episode. I'll say off the bat, I really enjoyed this episode.
Saw it twice today.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I didn't get to watch it all the way through the second time because I had my interview with Neil Marshall, which I wasn't sure was happening until the last minute. Otherwise, I would have completed the second viewing. But so the other thing, sorry, I did want to say this before we move on. There's only 9 people watching, but I'd really appreciate if you share this stream. What I've done is I've just done a separate post about it, and I have hashtagged our king and our prime minister. And what always happens when these things happen is they come out, they say a few words, they say about how terrible it is and their thoughts are with the family and so on. Like, look, sod all of that. Go and see them. Go and see them tomorrow. Go to the hospital, visit the injured children, go and see the injured parents, go and visit the site. Go there. These are your people. These are probably people that voted you into power in our recent election. Our king is a new king. This is exactly the sort of thing that we need you for, that our people needs you for. This is when we need you to stand up and be the leaders that we want to lead this country. Go and visit these families and these people, these bereaved parents. Go and see them. Let them know you are with them. Don't just do it for a news soundbite, please. Sorry, get off my soapbox now. But, this is when these people can be useful. They should take this opportunity to go and do some good. Right, House of Dragon. Okay, episode 7. I will do my usual breakdown. God, got extensive notes on this one, and I'm going to give people an option of voting for 4 different best lines of the show.
I took plenty of stones. Don't worry.
We'll try and get this episode is written by David Hancock. It's particularly well written. It's directed by Lonnie Patisseries. Not sure of the pronunciation of that. I'm hoping one of those 3 hit the boat. So we open with the sequence. Do we have stills? We do have stills. Do you want to get the beach up?
Not sure.
I
just do the previous.
We got our previously on the House of Dragon. Sure. We get all of that.
Okay.
But we want our scene with the beach with our 2 dragons. So for those people that saw it, the last episode ended with them spotting a dragon with a new dragon rider on it. Sea Smoke. And you can see why this dragon is called Sea Smoke, because he's kind of matches the sort of clouds above the sea, the color of the dragon. So you see that? Yeah, clever. Sea Smoke has a new dragon rider. The Queen arrives, and she stands opposite to find out who the new dragon rider is. Is your battery going off in your smoke alarm, Leroy?
Huh?
Is your battery going off in your smoke alarm?
Sounds like it. It doesn't it only does it every 5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, but it annoys the hell out of Keith, who's got very sensitive hearing. So I'm just letting you know this. You might want to take the battery out, perhaps.
Right. Thanks.
So, okay, she says, you stand before the Queen of the 7 Kingdoms to learn the ways of the Dragon Riders. And so, and he says, I'm here to learn the ways of the Dragon Riders and to serve my Queen. Introduces himself of Adam of Hull, and he kneels before the Queen. And after a bit of a speech and some great acting from Emma Darcy, he is accepted into service. We cut to the Red Keep. Queen Alicent talks of being cast aside, and she's talking to, I think it's her personal knight, who's played by actor Vincent Regan, who I've met. I've seen him in a play. He's a fantastic stage actor.
That was the Maester.
Was it the Maester?
Yeah,
the Maester. But the guy who plays
the scene with Vincent Regan's coming up after this. I've
seen him in 300 and Troy, and he played Mark Anthony in I think it was a made for TV.
He was in 300. He was in 300 as well,
and he was in Troy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she's got that great line. Nothing is clean here, and when you see the rat kind of nibbling on some fragments, and she tells her personal bodyguard, who's played by actor Vincent Regan, that she wishes to go out, and he's about to arrange kind of a litter for her and all this kind of thing, and she says, no, I wish to go alone. I wish to go alone.
Sir Rickard.
And Martin Muses, I really appreciate that. You don't normally comment, but I really appreciate that. And actually, there are 7 people in the chat now. If you could retweet my tweet where I have mentioned the king and our leader and, you know, how they should, you know, galvanize themselves into action, I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, and then we cut to Clubfoot or Lord Larris and random councillor bloke number 5. I'm not sure of this character's name. Man with beard who sits on council.
I kept it right there last. Jasper Ironrod Wild. That's the next in the captions.
Yeah. There you go. So they are looking down on the rioters who've been rounded up. Now, it's not just the rioters, but the guards who are being put to look like they're about to be either punished or executed. I believe the guards who were with the queens at the time.
Yeah, they're going to the wall. They've been sentenced to the wall.
Sentenced to the wall.
Starting the riot.
Right. Yeah, because they've sort of failed to protect them adequately. So then random councillor number 5 with beard, this man. I'm sorry, I don't know the character's name. I'm sure he's got a name, but
it's called Ironrod.
Ironrod.
Okay,
badass name.
Sounds like a name of a wrestler. Bring on Ironrod. Anyway, okay, Councillor Ironrod, interesting name. Definitely got by me, and I do pay attention to the little details, but that definitely got by me. Discusses a rumor that Sea Smoke has been seen with a rider, and he explains the chain of evidence as to how this rumor reached his lips, which is through a chain of about 7 people. To which Lord Larris, after some consideration, says, perhaps that whisper is best left to the wind. Now, why he says that, I'm not quite sure, but I think he's packing that information for himself. But he's trying to imply to Lord Ironrod, councillor number 5 with beard, that imparting this news personally to the higher echelons, i.e. the Queen and the acting King Regent, would possibly have bad consequences for him. So he sort of puts him off telling him, which suggests that Clubfoot is once again scheming. Prince Aemon is sending some guards to the wall. Yeah, well, we covered that. And we cut to a council meeting. And we're back at Dragonstone. And there's a fierce discussion over whether the lowborn should be allowed to be dragon riders. Mysteria, once again, Leroy's potential future wife, is stirring the pot. But the other councillors are saying it's wrong to seek them from the lowborn. The Queen is trying to justify this, thinking that they don't have a lot of other choice, and so on. Yeah, it's an interesting dichotomy for the Queen. Then we cut to the Sea Snake and Alan of Hull, as opposed to Ullen of Hull. There are 2 Allens, but one of them is spelt with a U in the middle. So the younger brother. And he basically, because again, this is another illegitimate son, right, of this character.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's this very sort of stoic, brief. It's a very brief scene. It's only got like 4 lines.
Yeah.
It says so much about their relationship. It's very, very well done. I like the fact that they do a lot with less in this show. I mean, you can get so much out of a character of 4 lines of dialogue that 8 episodes of The Acolyte tries to tell you and still fails. You know, so.
Leave The Acolyte alone.
Interesting too, Lance, that he didn't admit to Rhaenyra that he knows who his father is, but Corlys knows, and he knows that Corlys knows, and Corlys knows that he knows. They used to know, but they wouldn't. It's funny they're keeping the secret from Rhaenyra. That's just
no one wants to say it in public.
Yeah.
Sorry, I chose the wrong moment there to eat a fizzy fang.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's not going to work. I'm going to have to take that out. Okay. Right, I'll eat that in a minute.
It's a great shot.
We cut to Prince Daemon. The River Lords arrive. It's Harrenhal, isn't it? This is taking place. And Lord Oscar, aka the Kid, arrives, and he is the next in line to be the sort of High Lord of the Riverlands, if you like, the lead Lord of the Riverlands, the senior man. Of course, he is just a child. Now, props to this actor.
Yep.
We'll talk about him more later. Holds it. You can see how nervous he is in the takes. You can see. I don't mean the character. I mean, you can see how nervous this actor is. You can just see it. He's doing a scene with Matt Smith. He absolutely wants to do his best, and props to him. He does a good job.
Good job. He went gangster.
Yeah, he really did. Now, I'll tell you what, I really love the shot of the battered chair. I don't know if that was one of your screen grabs that you got there. When you get the reverse of this chair as he stands up. There's a really good shot through the back of it, and you can see you get the real detail of it and everything. It's just such good production design. You can see it in that shot as well, but there's a really good reverse of that as he stands up and the camera's shooting through it.
Yeah, once we're done on Pulp HBO.
Yeah, it's really good. This kid has balls, man. He's like, he basically says, the Lords are not going to unite behind me. For one thing, they all hate you. So the next thing, we're at the River Lords meeting because the River Lords are all waiting, and there's arguments and so on. And Lord Oscar kind of plays his hand quite well, and then the two warring factions, which are the Blackwoods and what's the name of the other? Yeah, the which one? What's it called?
The Brackens. Something.
The Brackens. That's it. The Brackens and the Blackwoods. Yeah. There's one guy who's kind of called out for excessive crimes, and this kid, to show that he's prepared to do the tough decisions, immediately has him arrested and executed by Damon. That was a great scene, man, because I did not see that coming, and I really like that as a character choice for this character, because what else is this kid going to do? He knows he's got to prove himself. He has to take action. He has to take massive action. Otherwise, these people are not going to unite behind him. So the Lord of the Blackwoods is beheaded. Then we kind of cut to sort of more spooky Prince Damon shit. There's a goat. King Viserys is warning. There's a great line here, which will be in your options of potential best line choices. The crown crushes whoever wears it. I love that line. I don't know that we needed that scene, but it was fine because the dialogue in it was so good.
Yeah.
We then cut back to the Red Keep. The Maester is trying to get the injured king to walk. Lord Larys comes in, assists him in putting him back to bed. It remarks that his progress is impressive. And then the Maester and the Larys talk in private. And he says, you've got to get him back up on his feet again in a few hours. And the Maester is like, no. He needs total bed rest. So Larys is clearly scheming again. What's he trying to do? Is he trying to kill the king? Is he trying to get him better? We're not really sure. That's a topic to be discussed in a moment. So then we cut to Alan of Hull talking with the Sea Snake. And he gives orders to recruit a select number of captains and ships to be discreet. We will going to find out what these ships are for later. And the Sea Snake tells Ullen, as opposed to Alan, of his brother now becoming a dragon rider, and this appears to please him, but he says he's of salt and sea. He's never going to be a dragon rider, even though the Sea Snake kind of implies, well, you could be if you want to be, maybe.
He also just said the term "our people," like wink, wink, like, because you're our people.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. We then cut to the Highlands. Princess Rhaenyra is leaving the Eyrie with her children, but she then abandons that wagon train and personally goes to look for the dragon. And we get shots of her kind of finding burnt patches on the ground and so on. So if she succeeds, well, this is her last chance.
She wants a dragon, dude,
to become a dragon rider, and she's quite determined. We cut to Alicent riding in the woods alone. Sir Rickard, who is Vince Regan, is cooking. There are some interesting tiny tents that I can't see Alicent wanting to sleep in a million years, but there we are. The scene is a bit strange. It's like they're on the like some Outward Bound project, like in the UK. It's children going on the Duke of Edinburgh's award scheme. Let's go and camp in the woods for a night. this kind of scene jarred with me a little bit, in the sense that I don't think Alicent would be prepared to sleep in a tent that tiny on uneven ground in woods in a million years when she's been sleeping in feathered beds all her life. So it's never been established that she's done this for fun. But I'll buy into it because things are so shit at home. She wants to get away. That's what makes it believable. Yeah. But it did test the character a little bit. I thought the credibility.
He does ask, you plan on going back? And maybe I'm not going to go back.
Yeah, she's not sure she's going to go back. So
I just want to say, I thought she was going to commit suicide.
Yeah, I thought that might happen, but then I thought, no.
Last episode, I thought she was going to commit suicide.
No, they're definitely going to keep both of the queens in. Both of the queens are going to be in the next season. I'm telling you now. So we cut to Dragonstone with the Queen and Prince Jace, and again, I said to you guys previously on other episodes that this actor who plays Jace has been growing on me as time progresses, and he really does. He shows his acting spurs in this scene. He does a really good job. They argue about the lowborn
mongrels,
his parentage.
Yeah.
Did you think I would look like this? I know who my dad is. He gets it out in the open, as opposed to, the sea snake and his sons, which don't talk about this shit. And he feels that by the lowborn being given the potential to ride dragons, the only rights that he's got left that he owns, which is the fact that he's a dragon rider, are basically being stripped from him. It's a really nice scene. Then we cut to Mysteria, who meets with Ullen of Hull. That's Ullen with a U. She passes a message which goes through a chain of people throughout King's Landing of various occupations, including guards and so forth. They are basically spreading the word that the Targaryen bastards should come to Dragonstone, and this is what the ships have been set to task for. This is the Sea Snake's little fleet's secret mission, is to come and collect people from the shores of King's Landing, bring them back to Dragonstone across the narrow sea, well, not the narrow sea, but the short sea between there, so that they can actually see if they can become dragon riders. And a whole load of them volunteer. There's about 4 dozen of them, including the guy in the pub who has constantly bragged that he's probably related to a king, but at this point he loses his nerve and says, well, I can't be sure it's all true. And we learn that he's been basically dining out on that story for years and getting free drinks, so now he's kind of forced into a position where he has to go. That's quite an interesting story, which we'll come back to.
My legs hurt and I can't go.
Yeah. we cut to the weapons blacksmith, the character of Hugh. He wants to go to the Queen's Call. This is also the first scene where we definitively learn that their kid is dead.
Yeah,
we saw it, but it's never been said in dialogue. This is where it's finally been said, confirmation that their girl has died.
And it turns out that he's also first cousin to King Viserys and Daemon.
Yeah, he's actually we find out he's a bastard child, only one generation away from the king, pretty much. So he's the closest relative. So at this point, we know he's a shoo-in to be a dragon rider. There's a great line from his wife when he says, just think, if I succeed, you'll be a lady. And she says, I do not care to be a lady, nor do I care to be a widow. Brilliant line. Cut to the woods. Alicent is wandering alone in the morning. Great use of locations, probably shot on location in either Cornwall or Wales. She walks into the lake. She floats. It's all very symbolic. It's kind of sort of religious undertones. It's quite spiritual. She looks up. She sees an eagle. At one point, I thought she might see a dragon, and a dragon was going to come down, and there was going to be something with a dragon happening here, but no, it wasn't to be. We cut to Dragonstone. The would-be dragon riders arrive. There's conversations with the elders. The elders are very unhappy. They storm out. Dragons are sacred. There's another great line
Pharisees.
here.
That's what they are. Pharisees.
Abomination.
Yeah. He says they're not the playthings for games of men. I think that's such a good line.
Yeah.
The elders, they all walk out in disgust. The Queen, she addresses the group. Basically, we know what's going on. She's looking to add the final 2 dragon riders and the dragons de facto to her ranks. She talks about the war ending, the suffering for the people ending. Under this very castle, Vermithor, the second largest dragon, also known as the Bronze Fury, awaits. Everyone is clearly shitting themselves. We cut to the dragon cave. Everyone is present in this scene, including all the key characters, apart from Prince Jace, incidentally. Vermithor appears. He is absolutely terrifying.
Yes.
We're going to talk about the sound design in this scene at length. We've touched on it before, but not in detail. We're going to cover it in detail today. So red shirt Star Trek guy steps forward and volunteers. We know this is red shirt Star Trek guy because we've never seen him before. We haven't even had a lingering shot on him in any earlier scenes. So he's definitely got the red shirt Star Trek on. And I put frying tonight, ! And then this dragon, Vermithor, basically loses his shit, burns a whole load of people. Some of them fall down the sides of the cave. Yeah, he cooks several. It becomes a bit of a barbecue fest. However, the blagger, who we wondered whether he was bullshitting, because I actually thought he was going to step forward first and he was going to be the one that died. I'm glad they didn't do that. I like it when show doesn't do the things that I expect.
He fell down to the pit.
He fell down into the pit. In the meantime, Hugh is accepted, and Hugh is accepted because he saves the life of a woman. And I think that that's also part of the reason that the dragon accepts him. It's not just to do with the blood. It's the act of nobility that he does at the same time. I think it's the two combined, personally.
That shot right there. Whoa.
Yeah, it was
beautiful.
So good.
Beautiful.
We'll get into that.
Go it!
It was so good. We'll get into that when we get into the. Oh, good to see you, Gary Bando Switchworthing. Man, I appreciate you coming on my channel. I remember you in Drinkers Chat. In the meantime, the blagger stumbles into another cave and finds the second dragon. So I've got a question here. But here, when he steps on this, did he step on an egg?
That's what I thought too.
I thought he stepped on an egg.
Yeah.
Because it's not shit. It's not dragon shit.
I'm definitely put that up later.
I thought he stepped on an egg. And if he stepped on an egg, the dragon would have killed him unless he was like super pure blood. So could it be that somehow this guy is going to end up being the Mad King, or the king who gives birth to the Mad King, or this guy is somehow down the road in the show going to end up being the only king that is left? I have a feeling something's going to happen with this guy, and he's going to end up being somehow going to end up being king. That's a punt. In the meantime, Prince Daemon mounts up and goes after him, because he actually ends up on a dragon. He goes bombing around the Red Keep like he's on a Spitfire, and then ultimately retreats. Prince Daemon mounts up, goes after him, chases after him towards Dragonstone. And as he arrives at Dragonstone, he sees in the distance that there are 3 dragons, all with riders, and that the queen is waiting for him with her 3 dragons. So he does the right thing and he retreats.
Yeah.
And the queen looks on with her 3 dragons, and that is the end of the episode. Now I can pop this fizzy fang back in my gob. Right. Wow. Yeah, quite a lot happened, and most of it was good. So let's get into this.
You might be half the king your father was.
Tread carefully.
Or what?
Okay, so Blue. The story and the script and the narrative and the world building and all that stuff.
Oh God, yeah, it was fantastic
in this episode.
It's like Leroy said earlier, but the first thing I was thinking when you first seen the new dragon, I forget what name is, but Vermax. But when you first seen it, it's like watching a horror movie, and you can just sense the tension. Because like you said, Lance, this guy was never seen before, so like, this thing's gonna barbecue a lot of people, and even as he's setting people on fire, he's eating them, and I'm like, this is like, that's Game of Thrones for you. That's so much tension and anguish, and like you have to earn the right to be a dragon rider. And Damon's finally getting some progress, like Leroy was saying too. The kid who got the inheritance to Damon, the brass balls in this kid, because he flat out says, I don't like Damon, I can't stand Damon, but I'm also loyal to my oats. And he's making Damon out to be the bad guy, and he is a bad guy. And it's messed up that he makes Daemon kill this guy. The guy that Daemon has to kill, Daemon beheads him. And he's like, Daemon's like, help me out. Like, I was just following your orders. Why are you killing me for? Daemon killed a guy who's just being loyal to Daemon's orders. Like, that's messed up, man. Like, and there's just so much going on. Like you said, with Prince, with Aegon, like, Larys is like trying to rehabilitate him. I took it as he wants to get him back as fast as possible onto the throne because Larys is manipulating him. And there's just a lot going on. That's my main plot points, but there's
I mean, I did actually think this guy, when he appeared in and I forget his name. I call him the blagger because he's always blagging.
His name's Ulf, U-L-F, Ulf.
Yeah.
Ulf. So Ulf, I thought he was going to take the other dragon to the Red Keep, and he was going to present him, and he's going to say, "Look, my king, I brought you a dragon," and he was going to defect effectively. Because I mean, he flew all the way over there, but I think he flew all the way over there because he couldn't control it. So, but yeah, what else?
Maybe Rhaenyra sent him over there to get Aemon's attention.
Because like if you're saying it's like he's just right there, like I did as you asked, your grace. I've been faithful. He was faithful to Daemon. Like I did, Daemon in his own messed up way. He united all these people. Leroy said the Brackens and the Blackwoods.
Brackens and the.
But also by doing that, you killed a lot of innocent people and did some horrible shit. But finally, the whole point is these clans were never going to unite. So Daemon, it was messed up what he did, but finally, these two warring factions come under one banner. But also, this poor guy had to get killed in the process.
Yeah. Yes, coat yourself in Marmite to stay alive. Yeah. Dragons don't like Marmite, apparently.
And I love it too, because even at one point, Daemon says to me, "It's like, mind your tongue, boy," and he gets right in Daemon's face, and he goes, "Do you want my swords or not?" So it's like Daemon, by all accounts, he should have backhanded hell at this kid, but also he needs this kid's loyalty because this kid's going to unite these two different houses, and that's when it's going to get the 13,000, 14,000 soldiers for Rhaenyra. So Daemon knows he needs him, and this kid knows that Daemon needs him. So he's just talking so much shit to Daemon's face in front of everybody and belittling Daemon. And you're like, Daemon can't do nothing about it because Daemon needs it. And like that was probably, I just love that story element where the first person in a long time in House of Dragon to put Daemon in check like that, and everyone in front of everybody, like, oh shit, man.
And it's a kid as well, which he kind of, I think he now respects him, whether he'll.
Daemon's still a douchebag because he says, remember, he's like, yeah, last time I was here, you dismissed me. And he goes, well, that's because then I had no use for you. He just says it. Yeah. I care now because now you're useful to me. So Daemon's still a dick.
Yeah.
I think he'll always be one.
Leroy, your thoughts on the story?
Man, I don't even know where to begin, man.
Well, we're going to do characters and actors next. So just the overall story and narrative.
Story, straight gangster. That's all, and I mean that in a good way. I mean, from the beginning was okay, but then once I saw that kid, how he put Daemon in his place, the ending, I actually thought Alicent was going to commit suicide. I want to talk about the dragons for a minute. When I saw Rhaenyra with all I think all three dragons, she now has a total of 6 dragons. The first thing the image that came to mind was 6 gangster rapping dragons. I know I put it on your messenger, Lance, DWA dragons with attitude.
Yeah, I like that. That was funny.
Yeah, that's what these are. Dragons with attitude. Vertimore is like Ice Cube. Sea Smoke is Eazy-E, and Silverwing can be like Dr. Dre or something like that. And it's I'm just being funny, but the way these dragons behave and how she got all of them together, pure gangster. And the whole story itself, to get back into the whole story itself, and I actually bear with me because I'm going a little biblical and historical here. Biblically, she basically decided to raise an army of bastards.
Yeah.
To raise
her exact words.
An army of bastards, or someone who's from the lowest totem pole of society. That's the kind of person, if you read I don't know if you guys are religious or not, or read the Bible or not, but if you're familiar with the story of the Bible, that's the kind of person God chooses to be his leaders.
Yeah.
Well, you need to try that, Leroy.
I'll put the scene freelance. You and Leroy can watch.
Let me call you back, Mom. I'm doing a podcast.
I'm not. It seems like when he steps, it's almost like a little dragon, like a pouch, but he does step through something, but he doesn't step on it. Egg. It's a very.
I'm
weird
sorry
shot.
about that. My mom called a bad time. I just told her.
No, but you can mute yourself and take the call, and you don't have to hang up on your mum.
But as I was saying, from a biblical standpoint, the lowest bottom of the totem pole in society, the underdog, especially a bastard, those are the kind of people God chooses to do his will. If you read through biblical history, just for the record, I'll give you good examples that King David mentioned that he may have been a bastard. And also how the young Tully, the kid put David in his place. From a historical standpoint, that was very impressive because you get a small taste of how quickly young people had to grow up. This kid's untested. He had to grow up real fast. And if half of our youth today around the world were like that, I think the world would be in a better place.
Well, indeed. Never more could that be truly said today. Thank you for that, Leroy. Yeah, I think this episode does a very good job. When people were complaining about whichever episode it was, episode 5, nothing really happened. That's such nonsense. There's so much going on in every one of these episodes, whether people are being set on fire by dragons or not. And that scene with with people trying to claim the dragon and them all getting burned and so on, that would not have been anywhere near as impactful if you hadn't have had the time building up to it and the other scenes building up to it and all the other things that were happening and the pressure that's put on the Queen in order for her to take this route. All of that stuff all happens as a result of other things that we've seen in other episodes. So this show is earning everything. It's earning all these scenes, and that's why they're more impactful when they happen. It's what's called good writing. Good writing. And
I thought this episode writing was excellent. I mean, yeah. I can't say not one negative thing about this episode. Did they go overboard with Verma burning everybody? Maybe a little bit. I mean, if Verma really wanted his own writer, all he had to do was just gently push people out of the way and choose Hugh. He didn't have to go natural selection on everybody.
This is Robert Rhodes.
Again, he's an animal.
This is the guy who played the guy who gets burnt. Now, I don't know if that's makeup or if that's a natural injury that the actor has, but he's got one eye of his is bigger than the other. If you look,
yeah,
and the eye shapes are different.
Well, his problems are over now.
Well, I'm talking about the actor rather than the character, but this guy was great.
Yeah.
So, Robert Rhodes, you've been noticed, sir. Good job. Yeah. So, Leroy, this could be your cousin, man.
Shut up.
Did you ever go for that? Did you ever go for that house party type haircut?
When I was little, I tried to grow my hair tall, and the only thing I managed to do with my hair was, other than shave it, was dreadlocks and cornrows.
Oh, dude, I've got to see pictures of you with that. I only know like tightly shaved Leroy. This guy, how much have we seen him before in the show up to now?
I think he was in the earlier season when he was with he's a friend of the blackguard, Ulf.
Yeah, in the pub.
Yeah.
I think we have seen him like maybe once before. But he felt like he kind of appeared out of nowhere. I thought suddenly this guy's got a lot of lines. Have we seen him before? I wasn't sure. Nice little cameo though.
But go back. Wasn't that Robert Baratheon? The guy who played Robert Baratheon in Game of Thrones?
Mark Addy?
No, that's
Mark Addy. I could see the mistake though.
Yeah, but this is James Doherty, and Mark Addy's a different guy. This is Queen Rhaenyra's little perch. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I knew that the blacksmith was going to get to become a dragon rider. That was a given. As soon as he told us his backstory, I thought, okay, he's going to become a dragon rider. But Blackguard in the pub, I thought was being set up to be Red Star Trek guy. I thought he was going to be Red Star Trek shirt. And so when that actor stepped forward, for a minute, I actually thought he was him because he had the messy hair and everything. And it's like, oh, no, that's not him. That's not him. That's someone else. So that was a good surprise that he also became a dragon rider, the least likely sort of prospect. That they kind of set him up that he was probably going to get killed, and that wasn't what happened. Yeah, this was an incredible scene.
Yeah, I mean, the great Paddy Considine.
Yeah, always good to see him back. Probably in an uncredited cameo. I think Lord Laris is going to make it to next season. So
he's almost acting like he really cares. I almost think he actually cares about King Aegon.
I don't know. I mean, he might be pushing him to get stronger because that's right. The reason he's pushing him to get stronger is because he's losing his power.
Yeah.
So he needs the king back on the throne.
Remember, Aemon called him a toad.
Yeah, that's right. That's why that's happening.
Yep.
Wonder where that was shot, and if that's how much of that is CG and how much of that is a real set. May well be that the only bit that's real is this little wall here. Difficult to know. Yeah, this is the gossip going through the town. Yeah, that's the moment where he realizes he's not going to be eaten. So,
and that's another thing, Lance, how these guys weren't soiling themselves the minute Vermithor showed up.
Wait, who says they weren't?
Welcome to the channel, Carla. I have not seen you in the chat before. Thank you for the comment. Appreciate you being here, and do tell us what you thought of the episode and what you think of the show as a whole. Yeah, I haven't got anything else to add about the story other than I can see that this is all going to come to a neatly tied up third act for.
I think next episode 8, Rhaenyra is going to be put back on the throne. I think that's what's going to happen.
Maybe we'll see. I think Otto Hightower is going to return in the next episode, but we'll do next episode predictions because I want to do a kind of who's going to live and who's going to die. Let's move on to this.
You're afraid, sir? Worse, I'm rational.
Now, funnily enough, we didn't see anything of those two characters in this episode. They were out to pasture, maneuvering armies and doing their thing. But we did get to see quite a lot of other people.
So I'll let you and Leroy, what are you guys' predictions?
Okay, so were we introduced to anyone new this episode?
Other than the small folk, no.
A couple of small folk had a couple of lines, but there weren't any new supporting.
Oh, but are we talking about characters now?
Yeah.
I want to talk about Jace, Rhaenyra's son. How he's treating the small folk, calling them mongrels and stuff like that. Has he forgot that he's a bastard?
Well, I found his behavior very very contradictory, to say the least.
Yeah. Now you see where he steps. It's almost like a mud pie in a sense right there. But look, so there's like an egg next to his foot. I don't think he actually broke an egg directly. It's like an egg pouch. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay. So it was like the protection.
Because I'm pretty sure
I knew I'd seen an egg.
Exactly.
I saw a couple eggs. I thought it was dragon doo-doo.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think like when they lay eggs, they don't lay like one at a time. Yeah, it seems like they lay like multiple eggs and just he very easily. Luckily, didn't squish one. So, yeah.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, so going back to Leroy, you wanted to talk about the spoiled prince, we'll call him.
Yeah, I mean he obviously forgot that he's a bastard and how people treated him and his brothers. So for him to come around and treat these people who are no different than he is, with based on the same boat as he is, only difference that they weren't raised in the Red Keep. I mean, I'm surprised his mom didn't smack him.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to talk about irony? Like as I researched for a lot of my books that I write, a lot of the mountain men who came out west most of them were from the low end of society. You had Black Mountain men, most of them were probably runaway slaves trying to look for a better life. But even a lot of the white trappers who were coming out west, they weren't from wealthy families. They came from what we would call poor white trash. And they came out west. And that scene, the small folk who basically the Targaryen bastards, kind of remind me of that.
Right.
I mean, if you remember the Titanic, most of the people who died of the Titanic were from the lower class.
True.
Yeah.
So, but then again, I don't mean to get all biblical on you guys, but this kind of reminds me in the Bible how God picked people who we wouldn't normally hang out with to do his will, to be leaders or preachers, or just. And I applaud the writers and even the author, George Martin. Especially for this episode. This is, like I said, I've never read any of the House of the Dragon or Game of Thrones books, but if this is being straight from the book, I gotta applaud him for that. That's good writing.
Yeah. There are some amazing lines of dialogue in this. Cast and characters, Blue. Characters first, and then maybe we'll talk about the actors after.
Characters, man. I love everybody. For me, this episode definitely to Hugh, because the brass balls this guy had to sit there and go in front of a dragon that big and just, like, number one, accept his death, and then number two, just yell at it and just scream and roar and like, okay, take me, it's my time. And like you said, Lance, I'm sure there's definitely the Targaryen blood, but also could be a level of respect where you had to earn it. And trust me, there's plenty I love about this episode, but that right there, which he got in that thing's face and just yelling and screaming like, I'm ready to die, and you know what? Hey, you're worthy now.
Well, Blue, you gotta remember he just lost his daughter, and his wife obviously no longer wants everything to do with him. So he ain't got nothing left to lose. He got nothing left to lose.
Well, but he also wants to prove himself to me. He was there to prove himself, which he was telling his wife, because if I do become a dragon rider, you become a lady, well, we'll never want for anything again. We'll be taken care of. But definitely that was my favorite character moment and scene. But there's so much to unpack, but that was for me the best part.
Okay. Leroy, did you have a favorite character?
I do. Other than the dragons itself at the end of the show, I'd say my second favorite scene was that kid Oscar Tully when he put Damon in his place. What, as young as he is, and they say experience is wasted on the youth or something like that, whatever they call it. That this kid knows he's young. This kid knows he's inexperienced, but he's not a fool. He's not stupid. He knows what needs to be done, and he takes the opportunity to be a leader, and he grabs it by the ball. He grabs the bull by the horns, and he runs with it. And by putting Damon in his place, I mean, my favorite line was like, "Do you want my army or not?"
Yeah.
I mean, the way he just walked up to Damon and just, you got punked by a kid. Today we call that getting punked. Damon got punked by a kid.
Yeah, because after you said, "Mind your tongue, boy," he gets into his face and, do you want my swords or not? Like, yeah, right.
Yeah. Indeed. All good stuff. I've started a poll for the best line, and the choices are: nothing is clean here. The crown crushes whoever wears it. I do not care to be a lady, nor do I care to be a widow. I had to abbreviate that because I couldn't fit it all on. Yeah. And the last line is they're not playthings for the games of men. And again,
do you want my army or not?
Well, I only had 4 choices, so there you go. So people can vote for one of those. Pick which of those is your favorite line. I'd also like to hear from people in the chat. Yeah. Who is your favorite character in this episode, and why? Quite a difficult one. I mean, both of the queens are kind of interesting this episode. They're both kind of on different paths. One of them has asserted her strategic position, the other not. Damon, we don't see that much of. Sea Snake has some good scenes, like his dialogue. I like this actor as well, actually, Abubakar Salim. He hasn't been given that much to do yet, but he's really growing on me as an actor. Matt Smith, of course, is always good.
Archie Barnes is the guy who plays Oscar Tully.
Yeah, I think actually probably my favorite character in this episode is probably the boy.
Mine too.
Because they wrote his dialogue really well. They made him do things you didn't expect. Therefore, they made him interesting. And that actor must have proper auditioned for that part, I'm telling you now. They would have seen about 50 kids for that role.
Yeah.
He can't be more.
How does he look to you? 16?
I think 15 or 16, probably. Yeah. They would have seen a lot of children, a lot of child actors for that role. So,
and Lance, I just want to say that he's my second favorite character. My first favorite characters are the three dragons at the end of the show.
Well,
I don't know if you could call them characters, but hey, that's
no,
why I said
they are.
UWA, Dragons with Attitude.
You can absolutely pick the dragons as your favorite character. Well, you're going to have to pick one of them because you can't have all of them. So,
well, I had to pick. I'm talking about three dragons that are on Rhaenyra's side at the end of the show.
You got to pick.
Vertimore, Sea Smoke, and Silverwing.
Which one's your favorite?
Oh, damn! I got to pick one dragon.
Yeah, you can only pick one there.
I'll have to go with Vertimore.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we got to see a fair bit of him. They did make his character very interesting.
Oh, the kid who plays Oscar Tully is actually 18.
He's 18.
Really?
Yeah, that's shocking.
He looks younger than that.
This would have been shot. This would have been shot about a year ago, though. So he probably would have been 17 when he filmed it.
True, yeah.
But he's probably also cast because he looks young.
Yeah.
So very scruff. Good for him.
Yeah, I pulled up your scene, Lance, with Damon in the back of the chair.
Oh yes, thank you. It's really a production design thing. Yeah. There you go. That shot there. I loved that. I thought that was so good because you got a real sense of kind of, the damage to the bodywork of this thing and how old it is.
Yeah.
And there's a story there just in that chair alone.
As you said, I will pull up the scene because with the soundtrack, the music went on. When Hugh earns that dragon, when the way Rhaenyra looks at him, that music was fantastic. I'll pull up in a second because the soundtrack was really good in this episode.
Yeah. Leroy, you can turn off your camera briefly while you adjust your pillow if need be. Are you still in the Bahamas?
No, I'm back home. We got home Thursday night.
Okay. You got back faster than I did. That's all I'm going to say. Right. Okay. So, let's go back to this. Yeah, good scene. So this is a tough one. Favorite performance in this episode? Well, now, I could argue, even though it's an AI performance, technically, that the performance of the dragon for me is one of the strongest performances in the episode, and the people responsible for that performance are not an actor but are of course computer designers and special effects people and so on. And we have talked about the special effects on the show before, and we've complimented the special effects house and so on, but I don't know if we've given the sound designer
part right here. Let me try something for you guys. Sure.
Because the sound design of this dragon in particular was so effective. They gave it such a unique character. And I also loved the way it elicited, having killed all these people in this horrific manner, its interaction with Hugh suddenly gave it this real human quality, which was quite almost disturbing in a way, but very, very, very effective. I'm just looking. So the sound department I'm going to mention several of them. In fact, let's share this.
Sure.
Let me add this to the stage for a second.
Yeah, 1 second.
So it's all right. You can
That's fine.
fiddle around with those things. So the sound department consists of about 20 people. We've got Stuart Bagshaw, Jason Bennett, Simon Bishop, who's the production sound mixer blood unit. Interesting. Martin Cantwell, who's the sound effects editor. He does a fantastic job. Colin Codner, first assistant sound. Doug Cooper, re-recording mixer. Benjamin Darrier, ADR mixer, so that's for dialogue. Peter Davis for sound mixer for dailies. There you go. Paula Fairfield is the sound designer. So I don't think we've given Paula Fairfield her due on this show before. Let's just have a quick look at her credits. 3-time Emmy and BAFTA award-winning sound designer. Well, there we are. For TV commercials, basically anything that makes a noise. Her passion is high concept sound.
Lord of the
design.
Rings, Lovecraft Country.
She worked on Lord of the Rings. Okay. Lovecraft Country. I've not seen that.
I saw some episodes my cousins were watching while I was in Alabama. I'm not that impressed.
Three Body Problem was an interesting show. I'm not sure I ultimately came away from it thinking it was a great show, but it was good. And the sound design on it was superb. Warrior Nun was quite fun. Can't say that I've seen Spy Kids, Armageddon. Fort Salem, I've not heard of that. What's that? Motherland, Fort Salem. A trio of witches are trained to become weapons for the American military. I think I'll pass on that one.
So would I.
I've had enough witches from the Acolyte, thank you.
Lance, I'm warning you.
The power of one, the power of many. There you go. Sound designer on Game of Thrones, 53 episodes. She also did Alita Battle Angel. That's got really good sound design.
Yes, like the movie.
Yeah. So this is a woman who knows her shit and has earned her spurs. So it does not look. She did Predators as well, and Lost.
Predators, that was a good movie.
67 episodes of Lost.
A lot of people like Predators.
She doesn't look that old, man. She just she looks pretty young to be in, to have all these. Oh, okay. She's a little bit old. She still looks great. She looks good.
Yeah.
She's a veteran of the industry, clearly. A veteran.
She's a hot mama, probably a hot grandma.
Well, listen, Paula, you did an amazing. What do you say? Don't say that. You did an amazing job on this. Really, honestly, people in these roles don't get enough praise. It's always the actors and the directors, and I really try and go out of my way on this channel to give credit to the different departments. And the sound design on this show, absolutely outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Oh, we've got a couple of other new people. The opening scene was fire, no pun intended. South London wrestler. Good to have you on the channel, mate. I have not seen you. New to the channel, subscribed and locked. Thank you. So, Carla, you might want to check out the industry interviews on the channel. I've had one of the cast from Game of Thrones season 1 on there. Wil Johnson, if you go back and look, we talk about it in detail. I think it's one of the first things we talked about, and I think I had him on for about 2 hours. And he actually was here. He was here in the studio, so he's sitting right next to me. And you'll also be interested to know that Gail Ann Hurd, producer of the Terminator films, is coming on the channel on the 25th of September for an interview. I can't wait. So pretty happy about that. We had a really good conversation about Gail on the Neil Marshall interview earlier tonight, who directed Dog Soldiers. That is also on the channel. That dropped today.
I only saw that movie one time.
It's a good film.
Yes, this is where
It was all right.
after our dragon buddy ate everybody, and just the creature grumbling and hear that?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
And then
yeah, it's so good. It gives it such good sort of character detail.
yeah, and then people say then just seeing in the animations of the eyes, and it's calm, and he pets it almost, it's like a big dog or a big cat. And
Yeah.
look at it.
Yeah.
A minute ago, he was just barbecuing.
It was barbecue frying tonight. Yeah, it's
yeah,
but it's it's really.
He's
really
like,
good.
he'll do.
yeah. I'll give a couple seconds to refresh, Lance. Like you're saying, then when they cut to Rhaenyra, the music intensifying and just like that chorus in the background, it's just excellent. Listen to it.
Yeah, South London Reseller, I can agree more. Fantastic interaction, and it's the 2-year anniversary of my channel this month, guys. So I'm very much appreciate those subscriptions. I have worked very hard to get this channel.
You know, I gotta say, this scene here, the way they made the dragon and everything. This was, you remember Reign of Fire, starring Matthew McConaughey and Christian Bale,
That was
right?
good. That was a good movie. I quite like
it
that
was.
film.
Oh, well, that was the first time I heard of Christian Bale was when I saw Reign of Fire. This, like the way they made the dragon here, was better than how they made the dragons on Reign of Fire, because you didn't get up that close and personal with the dragons on Reign of Fire.
No,
I've just seen, because I haven't checked it in a while. I'm only 360 subs away from 4 grand, 4K. So thank you so much for your support, everybody. I really do appreciate it. And lots more exciting content to come.
You should hear it about here, I think. Oh, and like him smiling too. What's up, that?
Yeah, that's good. It's all good.
Excellent.
Let's not get a copyright flag now, because we don't want to get one of those, do we? I have written to a whole load of other people, and in terms of getting other people on for interviews, and I have approached some people from HOD. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. So So sorry, going back to, I think my favorite performance in this episode is that dragon, and so that's the credit to the team that created that. So that's the visual effects and the sound team, led by the lady we just talked about. They created a character there. They created a performance. That's the first time I've really watched it. To me, it's like a special effects performance. You know, I mean, it's a silly comparison, but you might remember a film called Pete's Dragon that Disney did, and that dragon had real character. You know,
I remember Pete's Dragon. That was a funny.
Was a fun. My grandmother took me to see that, and she enjoyed the film.
I probably saw it 10 years after it came out. When I was
Very
a kid,
much,
because I don't think I was born yet when it came out.
Well, I was born. I think it was in the mid-70s. It came out. I was a tiny kid when it came out.
Yeah, I was born in December of '78. So
okay, so Paula and her team, very much key ingredient to making that dragon come alive and giving it the performance that it did, because the sound design was so key in this episode. So yeah, it was the dragon for me. Favorite performance, favorite character was the kid, and the kid was the new character really in this episode, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, and my second choice for acting, if we just exclude effects-driven characters and say who gave which human being gave the best performance, then it would be
the kid. He gave the best performance, in my opinion.
Yeah, same.
He definitely gave the best performance.
Blue, who's your favorite performance for this episode?
Like I said, I'm still going with Hugh. Not discounting anybody, but just that scene for Hugh with Amrathor was my favorite scene. But I still love everyone's performances.
Yeah, no, he was.
And plus, like Leroy said, he just also was a grieving father, telling his wife that I failed our daughter. I failed, and also keeping the secret. He's like, because he does mention the little tidbits there. His mother was a prostitute. And he goes, they paid extra money to have sex with a silver-haired woman. Yeah. So he had a lot to do this episode, and keeping that dark secret. Even his own wife didn't know about this. So he's been keeping that secret for a very long time.
Well, let's give the actors a shout out. So Kieran Bew
from Warrior
plays Hugh, and quite the dashing chap in real life. Some people may know him from the show Warrior, which is a pretty good show. If you haven't seen it, I've seen the first season, maybe the second.
I've seen all 3 seasons. They're excellent.
There we go. So Leroy's your man. So yeah, I do like him. I think he was very good. I didn't realize he was in Warrior until I saw his IMDb. So that's Blue's choice. Mine and Leroy's choice is
Oscar
Oliver
Tully, played by Archie
Yeah.
Barnes.
Yeah, what's his name again?
Archie Barnes, I think.
Archie Barnes. Let's get him up. Oh my God! Yeah, I remember him when he was younger. Just seen a picture of him from another show. I was thinking, God, yeah, that kid. So here he is. He was in the Batman.
He was in Batman. I saw that movie.
Batman. I remember him in The Dig. That was a boring
Oh, he played
film.
Mitchell's son.
But the thing I most remember him in was the drama Stonehouse. He played the son in it, didn't he? That's him in The Dig. Yeah, I thought.
Wait, hold up. If he's 8, the Batman came out in 2022. If he's 18 now, then he was 16 when he did the Batman. He was supposed to be the Mayor Mitchell's son. He could.
Yeah, I mean, this was shot in 20.
He was supposed to be a little boy when he did the
I
Batman.
don't know, man. He must be like this kid that looked really young, or but they do exist. Anyway, I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more from Archie Barnes, because that's a good performance at that age. And he's got some respectable credits there. So
if he can avoid all the traps and pitfalls that come with being a child actor.
Well, there's a lot more controls in place now, and we've seen a lot of children from Game of Thrones go on to have very, very successful careers, and I think he'll be one of them. I'm going to argue. Okay, so I will give out a special mention though to it's Harry, isn't it? Is it Harry Collette who plays
Jace?
Prince Jace. I thought he did a really good job.
I'm really starting to hate his character. I mean,
we're not talking about his character. I'm talking about performance. Leroy, talking about performance.
I like his performance. And
maybe you're supposed to hate his character, in which case he's doing a good job. But I really like it. South London reseller. His mother was a half sister to Balon. South London reseller. I'm curious. Is your title? Does it have that name because you like buy and sell collectibles or something like that? So Carla, thank you very much for that nice comment. I really appreciate it. And again, thank you for checking out other stuff on the channel. There's some boring gaming stuff as well, but you don't have to watch that. You can just watch these fun streams and the industry interviews. Okay, so we've got quite a lot to say about the
awesome. Yeah, I just want to show you just also, because besides Vermithor, this dragon here, I mean, just again, I mean, just excellent. Just his color design, his facial, the teeth.
Yeah,
I mean,
I like the way they make him quite different looking.
It's right there. I mean, that look. I'm not sure that's how is that like a back in Jurassic Park they would use practical effects, but that's fantastic right there.
I mean, that could be a real prop. You don't know.
I mean, as much as I love Vermithor, that shot right there, like that, this thing is sick looking.
I honestly thought when he trod on the egg, because I thought he trod on an egg. I thought that's it. He's toast because he just killed one of this dragon's kids.
But the way, I don't know if this dragon's a male or female. I know it's called Silverwing. The way it approached Ulf, it was like a cat trying to rub, like a little cat trying to
play with a mouse.
No, not play with a mouse, but rub his or her body.
He kept nudging him with his nose
on your leg or something, trying to get your attention. And it's like he really likes him. He wants to be his pet or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, takes him for a ride, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yep.
He gets to go bombing around the town.
I will say this: I'd rather get burned alive or eaten than be flying a dragon, because I'm scared of heights.
Oh no, man!
Or better yet, I'd rather just go back to living in the slums than risking my life.
To quote Jake from the Avatar movies, I was born to do this. I'm all about the flying on the dragon, man. That would definitely be me. Yeah, Gary
That's if
Banjo
you don't get burned alive.
Worthington Sandwich Baguette says it's a female dragon.
Cool.
Yeah, it's got to be one of the best names on YouTube. That. So, okay, we're going to go into this next section, and there's a lot to say about this next section this week. Whereas usually we're fairly brief, but I think we need to say a lot.
The horrors I have just loosed.
Well, I mean, man, what can we say about the visual effects of this episode?
I think we already talked about it.
We can say more. We can say more. They're the bollocks. I mean, everything from the lighting. You feel that these physical things exist in the space that's presented, and that's the really important thing. That you feel that they're there.
I feel the greatest special effects was the dragons. I mean, I don't think you can't make something like that look any more real.
The dragons, the fire sequence, which is practical effects as well as special effects. Very, very good sequence.
You remember when Jurassic Park first came out and how they made the dinosaurs look so real?
Yeah.
That's this, only better.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, these are the best dragons ever committed to visual effects. There's never been dragons as good as this.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's funny.
All the characters
realizes he's outnumbered.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, she's standing there like, bring it on, bitch. Let's go. You know,
As I
you might have a big dragon, but he's old and he's slow, and there's no clouds for you to hide behind right now.
Yeah, as I said before, that's why I took this still right there, because like I said, remember when he blew a fire, just seeing somebody detailed the holes on the side of the mouth, because that right there is where the fire comes out. Yeah, and it's basically like their throat, but their throat makes like chemicals comes out of their cheeks plus their throat to make a flame.
That's why their throats expand like a big pouch. Yeah, because it's got all that chemical liquid in it. That's when you know they're gonna squirt their juice, so to speak.
Yeah,
and there's Dragonstone.
Everybody knows, and the most impressive thing of all is how many special effects have to be done at nighttime. And the fact that this level of detail during the daytime is disturbing. How really awesome it is.
I think that's the first time we see Dragonstone, and that's also a good visual effect, probably with some plate shots of real landscape blended in. But that's the first time we see that peninsula. We've never seen that peninsula from this POV before, I don't think.
No, you're right.
Yeah. So you get a real sense of it, that it's, it sticks out quite far from the main body of land behind it, because it's not an island. It looks like it's an island, but it's
I would assume it's just Emma Darcy in the background. This is probably the Castle's digital with like a mountaintop shot.
Oh yeah, that could be a miniature that's then shot as a separate plate and added on, or it could just be a straight CG. There are some miniatures. We were talking when I was interviewing Neil Marshall earlier, and we were talking about the shot where the car goes through the bus in Doomsday. I was really surprised to learn that part of that was a miniature. Yeah, that the effects guy built, and he blended it all together, and it looked amazing.
And even too, when they show Aegon in bed, I took those screenshots. The makeup job on the burns, that's very well done.
Yeah,
man, good job to the makeup department for Aegon's scars and how much in pain he's in.
I don't think it is MPC actually, mate, because we talked about the company, didn't we? Let me double check that.
Yeah,
you might be right, but I think as I recall it having a different name, the main visual effects. There are two effects companies involved in the show. There's one that's on the main foreign location, and then there's the main one. Pixamondo are the main company. You've got some other companies. Weta does some stuff. Weta does some digital compositing. Zoic Studios do some 3D building. Rodeo Effects do some stuff. There's a guy called Omar Hernandez Pena who works for MPC, who's working on the show. But most of the company work for Pixamondo. So I think the Pixamondo do the majority of the visual effects. Weta do some of the layouts and environments. There's also a company called Third Floor that are involved. So yeah, it's quite a few, but Pixamondo is the main company.
Yeah.
The makeup's very good again.
Yeah, I mean, he only gets one scene, but just showing just very. I mean, just imagine Ryan Reynolds for Deadpool, he said did 10 hours of makeup. This had to be 5-6 hours of makeup just for one scene.
I'll just take Leroy out while he's not on camera, so we don't have to shot of an empty bed.
And plus, two excellent acting production. But Aegon, boy, you could feel this kid's he's suffering, man.
Yeah. And that would be a 3 or 4 hour makeup job, and you can't touch your face as well. I did this scene in my movie where I played this mercenary, and I've got like this old bullet wound on my face.
Yeah.
And the makeup lady had to keep telling me, "Don't touch your face, don't touch your face." And in between takes, I sat on my hands.
Yeah.
I had sat on my hands between takes.
Even seeing, I like when they show Viserys in as he's dying makeup job again, that was really good. I mean, obviously that's a digital shot right there with his eye, but the rest is just all makeup. I mean, man.
I'm not sure. I mean, that's nuts, because in that shot, that could be a different actor. That might not even be Paddy Considine there.
Well, they have him credited as being.
Oh, he's credited, is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's him.
Well, I mean, but it could be him doing the voice, but that could be a different actor in the makeup there.
I mean, I'd see right there. That's definitely Paddy Considine. You can tell by his jaw.
I would think so. It's just you never know these days. It's like, oh, well, I can't come back for a day's filming, but I can do some ADR. Okay, we get a double in to block you. You don't know.
You're not wrong about that.
Yeah, that's happened before. Okay, Leroy's disappeared again. So just, has he got the squirts? What's going on? Right. Yeah. So visual effects. I mean, if there's an episode that makes the visual effects,
I swear,
this is it.
I mean, seeing the makeup of the dragon. This is out of all. I'd wager out of both seasons of House of the Dragon, this is the most dragons we've ever seen in one episode.
Yeah, it is actually.
I mean, yeah. And it feels like these guys blew their entire budget on one episode.
So we've got 15 people watching. I would love to know who is your favorite character, but also I'd like to know who you think is going to survive. We've got one episode left. Who do you think is going to survive? Who do you think is going to die?
Someone's going to die next episode, Lance.
Yeah, I think we're going to lose at least 2 characters, and I've got some views on who I think that might be. So we'll get into that. Yeah. So yeah, fantastic stuff. That's a view of Harrenhal that we've not seen before as well, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so that was another one.
Yeah, because right there's a Damon. Yep.
Okay, Leroy is. Are you back, Leroy?
Yeah, I'm back. Dinner was ready to get my dinner.
Oh my God, you can't eat your dinner on camera, man. You can just go to audio and turn your camera off. So you
I don't know how to do that, man.
I don't. Well,
it's just stop camera next to it.
There's mute. Stop camera. Just stop camera next to
stop cam settings. It's in the bottom.
There you go. There you go. Now you can still talk.
You guys can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you just fine. We don't have to watch you eating your dinner, and nor does everybody else, which is the main issue. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll get on to our final section here. But people in the chat, I would love to know who are your favorite characters in this show, and who do you think is going to bite the bullet in episode 8? But for this episode, let's talk next.
Hold to your courage! Hold to your wits!
Listen.
I should have taken down that little comment before I posted that. But yeah, so standout lines, memorable moments. Well, there are 4 lines in the chat that you can choose from, or you can pick a different line and you can pop it in the chat and let us know.
I have to say my favorite line was, "Do you want my army or not?"
Hey, Mohammed Monmin, Adam of Hull, my brother's just trying to get paid like the rest of us. Indeed. Mate, welcome to the channel. You're very welcome. And thank you for putting a comment in the chat. Where's my notes? I think my favorite line, even though I'm not a big fan of the flashback nightmare scenes, I think my favourite line was this crown crushes all who wear it.
Yeah.
You know, it's that old adage of it's heavy wears the crown.
Heavy is the head who wears the crown. Yeah.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Yeah. But it's another way of saying that, but it's effective. I really like that line. It's a good one. I also really like the line. It's a toss-up for me between that line and dragons are not the playthings for the world of men, or words to that effect. They're not playthings for the games of men.
Lance,
that is a great line. That is a great line.
Lance, I have to say, I think the reason why I like the line, "Do you want my army or not?" because it's not just the line, it's who says it, the kid.
And the circumstances under which he says it, which is that he grows
showing
very
his
big
maturity. I mean,
he grows very big gonads.
That's what makes that line so good, in my opinion.
Yeah. He is extremely good in that scene, and it's kind of, you don't expect that kid to have quite that. You don't expect his balls to be quite so big in that scene, but he is incredibly so. Yeah, hold on, I was just trying to get better. There we go. I found a more recent picture of that character. Let me show it. Yeah, this is right after him standing up to Damon. His testicles are so big he had to carry them in a wheelbarrow.
I'll say, Lance, I'll add to that scene, because when Damon is talking to the counselor, basically his exact words like, "I may have been a touch enthusiastic."
Yeah, that's a good line.
In pursuing my aims, like, enthusiastic. Did you know what you freaking done, you idiot? Like, how many? Yeah, like that's why they
killed a lot of people.
And also innocent women and children. Like, it was barbaric what Damon did. He's, yeah, I may have been a touch enthusiastic. Like, that's the word you choose.
That's why I never really liked Damon. I never liked him, not even the first season.
Yeah. Yeah. So standout moment. Well, I mean, it's probably got to be the whole scene with the dragon, Vermithor.
Same here.
Man, that whole sequence, I was actually like, I was playing it on my Mac, and I thought, I've got to go full screen with this scene. And I knew someone was going to get eaten, but it went slightly differently from how I was thinking. And I also thought they were probably going to send the people in one at a time, not like kind of have them all grouped together. Because, I mean, that's a bit of a fool's errand, isn't it? What you would do is you wouldn't tell them what was happening, because you wouldn't want them to be afraid. You just say, right, well, one at a time you'll go and chat to the dragon, and if the dragon doesn't like you, you can head off. You wouldn't tell them that, oh, by the way, the 7 people before you have all been cooked and eaten. Now it's your turn. Let's see if you can do better. I don't know about that tactic of putting them all in. And
I think that's a screensaver right there. Just bam, look at that.
It is, yeah. That's a great shot. There's hardly any light on the dragon, but it's still so effective.
Well, plus the whole thing is like, remember she first calls it, and all you see is shadows. It was back there. This thing's massive. Like, it was just hiding all quiet the entire time, and slowly. It's like her reaction. She looks up. Everybody looks up. Like, what's back there? Because they haven't seen him yet. Only she has.
So, who was your favorite character?
Wait, you're cutting out.
And we've got one vote. We've got one vote for Adam Hull. So 1 vote for Tully, 1 vote for Adam Hull. Can you hear me all right? Is that okay? Did you
I can hear you now.
Yeah, it's cutting out a second.
Was I cutting out?
I feel like 5 seconds.
I feel like this mic might have got knocked a few times. I don't know.
Even there, like, that almost looks like a puppet, man. It's hard to tell.
It could be. I mean, yeah, it'd be interesting to see behind the scenes, but they probably don't want to spoil it, and that's fair enough. Keep it a secret for now. I prefer not to know. Extremely effective.
And I knew something was going on because you notice the dragon looks at him. It looks at him, just passes him by right there. I'm like, off the bat, something's going on. Small detail, but looks just, you're here. I'm not gonna. You could have killed him right there. He just kind of ignored Hugh for now.
Yeah, and it was
guy.
good the way he managed to save the woman. I like the fact that woman got saved.
Yeah, there were some fine women among them small folk. Too bad that a lot of them got cooked.
I mean, plus dragons got to eat too.
Yeah. Well, he certainly did eat. Yeah, that was pretty bad scenes right there, man. Of course, it was wasn't it last week that somebody slit their throat?
Yeah, I think it was one of the.
Yeah,
it wasn't Knight that got burned. He was burned alive.
It was one of the
guys supposed to control the dragon.
One of the dragon tenders. Yeah. They're not playthings for the games of men. The Riverlands throwdown scene was very good, actually, as well. Definitely a close second for me to this. So
yeah,
and there were several good scenes to choose from. I always like the council stuff. I always like anything with all the different characters on the council, and you can see everybody playing their own agendas and stuff like that. Hugh's daughter, we debated that. Hugh's daughter actually, now we've had it confirmed, she dies in that crush. And it looks like she's dead at that point, but we weren't sure. We thought so, but I think if you go back and watch it, you can kind of see she becomes lifeless in that scene.
Possibly, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, she gets into that. There's a little door over there if you look.
Really?
So if you look, see the door? Look right between the dragon's mouth. If you look, there's a door.
All right.
Yeah.
You can see the woman's in the doorway. See?
Also, yeah,
fact that he risked his life to save her.
Ah, there you go. So there is a way upstairs, clearly.
Yeah, just straight here.
Jace confronting Rhaenyra was a great scene, and I really liked.
True.
Yeah, and the new rider's undermining his legitimacy was interesting.
That was good.
I mean, he didn't have to see it that way, but it's a strategic war decision, isn't it? It's like have a fleet of dragon riders, but doesn't make them kings,
Well, plus first time he actually mentioned to Rhaenyra that I've seen on screen where he mentions his actual father.
Yep.
He's never said to Rhaenyra on screen, like, hard one strong. Like how'd you feel when you were going to bed with him? Oh, damn.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'd love to get that sound designer on. That lady we talked about earlier, I would love to get her on for an interview. I really would.
I'm ready.
I'd just be really interesting to hear about sort of her process of kind of creating the sound for different creatures. And she's worked on so many shows, So I'm gonna reach out to her tomorrow. I thought this was good as well. He was kind of
he was ready to die. I mean, he had nothing.
He was ready to accept his fate. And if you look behind, those are all different bodies burning.
Oh, yeah, right.
Those are all bodies. Yeah, one or more bodies, because there's nothing else to burn down there. There's nothing else that would catch fire.
I mean, because you can't burn stone, Lance.
No, you can't burn stone. That's right. Stone does not burn, nor does mud.
You guys are just saying that to raise. I may not be able to dog paddle across the Atlantic, but blue collar, you live in New York. I did not live that far from New York.
Uncle Leroy, I don't know what you mean.
No, none of the stones, but yeah. Also,
we love the Acolyte with all its in-depth story and complex and narrative weaving and amazing acting.
I want to see your reaction if the Acolyte gets renewed for a second season.
You won't see any reaction because I will not be watching it nor reviewing it. So, and that will just, if everybody doesn't pay it any attention, it will just disappear down the toilet because no one will be talking about it. Anyway, so with this scene is all really well done. Do you know what? I could see that dragon in that shot.
Yep. Oh yeah, I don't know how he couldn't see it.
I saw it, and it reminded me of when the aliens are coiled up in the wall in Aliens.
Well, some of Leroy, but look too, like the way it really camouflages into the rock, though. Yeah, I mean, we can see it from afar, but I mean, who knows? He might be figure he's like kind of close to it, but he's just from his distance. Plus the lack of lighting. I mean, we're seeing it from a wide shot, but he might just see like what the hell's going on? Because at first he doesn't recognize it. He doesn't really realize what's happening.
I agree. Darth Plato, the acolyte people should have been sent to that cave for torching.
Darth Plato, I'm coming to get you.
Because not until it starts moving that he notices right up until that point. I mean, his skin almost does match the tone of the rocks right here. So,
what's the name of this dragon?
Silverwing.
Hmm.
And someone said that she's a female. So
yeah,
bit of romance.
She just automatically knew that because the way she was like pushing him was like a cat trying to rub his body against a human being that it likes.
That's
She obviously liked them.
Let's talk about who's going to live and who's going to die. The obvious choice would be that this guy is going to die in combat next episode, which is why I believe it will not happen. So far, this show has avoided the obvious choices. I think there's a good chance that Jace is going to get killed.
Yeah,
and he will get killed as a result of the stupidity of this guy in combat. So Carter says Rhaenyra seems to have a connection with Vermithor. I like how calming Rhaenyra's touch was with Vermithor. It was the connection they both felt. Yeah. Well, she's the mother of dragons.
Yeah. Well. Plus, I always feel like the Targaryens, they always have like some soft connection, because even when she's talking to Alan in the beginning, like his dragon kind of respects her in a sense, and senses that she's a dragon rider.
Yeah. So my predictions are there's a good chance Jace is going to get killed, and probably because of the cause of another on their team. Hugh is definitely going to make it to next season and become a major character. They spent too much time setting him up only to kill him off in episode 8, so that's not going to happen.
I wouldn't be surprised if the next episode, season finale, Daemon and Aemon end up killing each other. Like I say, in the same fashion we saw in the Northmen, at the end of the Northmen.
Actually, that could happen. Yeah, I could see that. The queens are definitely both going to live to season 3. So both the queens are going to survive. Jace might die. The princess who's gone to look for the dragon in the mountain, she's going to have a key role to play in the battle that's going to happen in the next episode. She's going to turn up towards the end on the dragon, and by virtue of that action is either going to save or kill somebody, and may, as a consequence of that, die herself. But she's definitely going to have a key role, and she's going to arrive late with that dragon. That's going to have a major impact on the battle. Who else have we got? Oh, yes, we've got the Lannister's son, so Millicent's brother, played by Eddie Fox. And
you mean the Hightower's son?
Sorry, the Hightower's son, thank you. And then
Otto Hightower himself.
Yeah, we've got the Lannister's twin brother, who's played by the same actor, and then we've also got the prince. What's his name that we didn't see in this episode? The one who's
Darian, I think is his name.
Yeah, the one's had an affair with Millicent. So there's a good chance that one of them will die. I think, but I think Lord Larys will survive. Otto will come back, and he will probably survive.
What about Corlys Valerian? You think he'll survive next episode, next season?
The sea snake, yeah.
Yeah, you think he'll survive?
I think he'll go to season 3. I hope so.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, then that sets up the two sons of his to sort of have significant roles in season 3 going forward. I think both of them will survive because they haven't got to do much, but there's a lot of time been spent on setting them up. So I don't think they'll just be set up to then die in episode 8. But you're right, yeah. Matt Smith and Daemon and Aemon could I could see that they could have a big scrap and they could both go out. They could both go down. I could see that
because I've heard rumors that Aegon's going to live.
Well, I think that if they both go down, they'll die at Harrenhal somehow, because we know Matt Smith is probably going to die at Harrenhal. That's what's been predicted, and I have a feeling that will come to be. So it might be that his dragon will be wounded. He's coming back to Harrenhal. The dragon will kind of limp there, and he'll fall off the dragon, and he'll get impaled on some big spike on top of the castle. Something like that. What do you think, chat? What are your predictions for next week? Who do you think is going to survive? Who do you think is gonna rue the day? Who's going to bite the bullet? And don't forget to vote for your favorite line in chat. Do share the stream as well. We'd be most grateful to you. So let's see what the votes are like. So the top vote for the line so far is the crown crushes whoever wears it, 73%. Nothing is clean here has got 2 votes, funnily enough. And Carla thinks Sir Christian Cole will die at Harrenhal. I'm inclined to agree that Sir Christian has, I think his time span is quite limited. If he doesn't die this season, he'll die early next season. That's my prediction. We'll see. Jamalama says, I don't see Cole and Alicent's brother living much longer. One of them is done soon, I'm guessing. Yeah, I agree. Stark greybeards are on the way. Winter is coming. Predict the invasion of King's Landing. Cole is gone. Aemon can't defend alone. Okay, I like these predictions. Next week's going to be an exciting one. It's going to be an exciting one. I think we're scheduled for 9 o'clock next week. Earlier at the moment, but I may go a bit later. We'll see. Blue, did you want to say anything else about this episode before we do ratings out of 10?
No, like predictions for next week. Yeah, it's the finales. People have to die. It's Game of Thrones. It would make more sense that people on Rhaenyra's side dies to even odds, because she's outnumbering these guys so much that, I mean, to get to next season, to make it fair, I guess, to make it balanced, you would have to have some of her dragons get killed. Who's gonna die? Like you said, Hugh. Hugh's too much build up. Ulf is such a minor character that he could, but I think it would be more impactful for Rhaenyra to lose Jace, as you said. Daemon.
I think Ulf will do something stupid that will result in the death of Jace, and maybe himself as well.
Yeah, Daemon. I don't think Daemon's gonna die, because he's too much. Not mentioned besides a fan favorite, that he just finally now, after the whole season, got Rhaenyra's army. I just don't see him dying in combat. Could be wrong, but I see Daemon make it until next season. Aegon.
Remember at the end of the first season of Game of Thrones, Sean Bean was a star, and they executed him at the end of season 1. So,
yeah, but that was very, very deliberate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's based on so far House of Dragon. Aegon's not going to die yet because he's still healing, but that's the point.
No, Aegon won't die this season.
No. Aemon, will he die next episode? It's possible. Aemon has a good chance of dying because Aemon right now is the biggest threat. That's the issue, and Vhagar is the biggest threat. So it would make sense to have, at this point, Rhaenyra have 5 dragons attack Vhagar, because I'm just saying, 5, 6, but just, I mean, some are combat ready, but yeah, I mean, just because Ulf can fly doesn't mean he's a battle rider.
Yeah, I think either Aemon or Daemon, one of the two definitely has to die next week.
Yeah, because you remember right now, Hugh and Ulf, they're just there as like for show, because you can ride them, but Aemon has experience. You two just got these dragons 5 minutes ago. In combat, you're pretty much useless. I mean, because we seen right there, Ulf was riding that thing, and what did he do? He could barely hang on to a saddle. During a fight, you're not going to do anything. So they're just there for show. But when it comes down to actual battle, if you want to take out Vhagar, you're going to need Daemon, Rhaenyra. You're going to need maybe Alan, but it's hard to say. Yeah, Jace even, but
I think next week might open with a kind of like Avatar training sequence where they're with Ulf and they're training him to ride the dragon properly. And
I'm definitely wager, especially for the finale, we're going to get a big battle sequence next episode. I mean, you'd have to, because it's the finale, and then the budget. I guarantee we'll probably see at least a 20-minute, 25-minute battle sequence.
Yeah, I think so. Whether it will be at King's Landing, whether it will be at Dragonstone, or somewhere in the middle. Well, Helena, Lady Helena is the one who went off into the wild, right?
Also, Rhaena, I'm curious. Will Rhaena get her?
Helena, or is that Rhaena who went off into the?
That was Rhaena, to my knowledge.
That was Rhaena, right?
Yeah, because we still haven't seen this mysterious wild dragon. Which, okay, if she does get it, she's going back to Rhaenyra's side. So Rhaenyra's got to lose people, because then Rhaenyra will have 7 dragons.
Yeah, I mean, it's if the side is outnumbered that much, it's going to be interesting. Well, we're just about to wrap up, Adam, but thanks very much for joining us, buddy. So people are going to die next week. I don't fancy Jace's chances. I think this kid, the guy,
I hope he lives.
I hope he lives. I'd like to see him in season 3, but he might bite the farm.
Or Daemon might kill him for being.
That's also possible.
Put him in his place.
They might win some.
I would not put that past Daemon.
Yeah, they could win some major battle and then Daemon lops his head off. But that's more likely to happen next season if they go that route. I don't think he'll do that so quickly, because it took him ages to reunite these people. If he's just going to kill each leader that does that job for him, then no one else is going to do it, are they? So
look at those lines. Remember how loathsome I find Daemon. Like, mind your tongue. He calls him loathsome, and loathsome. I don't respect him,
and then he suddenly just grew a massive pair and just went full Buster Gonad. There you go.
We have our army or not.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Okay, so everyone in chat, there's 11 of you. Particularly the new people, I would love to hear your rating out of 10 for this episode. So if you could put your rating in the chat now. Blue, what are you going to give this episode?
God, it's so easy to say a 10, and I'm probably gonna. Yeah, I mean, I'll go with a 10 on this, man. I've watched it again, and there's no fat. I don't find a single scene wasted, no dialogue wasted, no actors wasted. And even if people had some issue with the storyline, the music and the CGI is perfection. For me, so far, this is my favorite episode of the season.
Fantastic. I think it's probably my second favorite. Leroy, what are you going to give?
I'm with Blue Collar, 10 out of 10. This is my favorite episode of the entire show so far. And I have to say this again. The image of 6 dragons rapping, doing gangster rap kind of entered my head, because what they just did was completely gangster. The whole episode, from it's like I said, DWA, Dragons with Attitude.
Very much so.
And another reason why I give it 10 out of 10 is because of this scene right here, putting Daemon in his place.
I love this scene.
The dragons and this scene, that alone makes it 10 out of 10 in my book.
I mean, I'm not going to give this episode a 10, but
don't give anything less than an 8.
Shush, such a bully. Listen, I give it a solid 9. Even a 9.5. I liked everything about it. The acting was solid. The character, all the scenes were well written. I think the character of the princess is underwritten, and that is my sole criticism of this episode. I feel like she probably had more dialogue, and it was probably cut in favor of other scenes, because it feels like when she leaves the Eyrie and the gate is closed, it feels like there was probably like a 4-line scene before that, and we don't see it. I just feel like there's not been enough discussion there. Like, where are the kids going without her? She's been charged to look after them. Where are they going to go now? Who's looking after them? Does she still have the dragon eggs, etc., etc.? That for me was all that's a bit wishy-washy. So it's a minor niggle, because it didn't detract from the show at all. I really liked it, but I think she could be more realised. So we'll see. But yeah, really, really good. So I give it a 9. We've got a 9 here, an easy 10. A 10 from Carla. I hope we see you next week, Carla. 9 from Jamalama. Like to watch things a few times before really locking in. Yeah. So yeah. Who's Darth Platolf? Sounds like a character from Lord of the Rings. Okay, so yeah, we will see. We will see. But that aside, I think also the two Alan characters, especially
I think it's Adam and Alan.
I thought it was. I think it's Alan and Alan.
No, it's Alan and Adam.
Is it Alan and Adam?
Yeah.
I swear that it was Alan and hang on, let me have a look. Anyway, I think that the Alan with a U, the shipbuilder one, I think he is a bit underwritten. He does this thing where he stands and looks stern and sort of listens and takes orders. And I get that that's his character and he gets to say a bit more when he's with his brother, but I would you're right. Sorry, it's Adam with 2 D's and Alan A-Y-L-N. I don't know why I got it with a U. I don't know why. I think somebody's misspelled it somewhere on a picture.
He somehow miraculously healed up real fast so soon.
He has. I feel like they could have done. I feel like they could have had another scene. I would have liked to have seen, for example, okay, so a scene for me that was missing from this episode, I would have liked to have had the Queen present Adam before the council, and I would have liked Adam to have been in that scene and then him defend himself as a lowborn and try and justify before the elders why he should be going to ride into battle on a dragon. I think that was a scene for me that was missing. Now I get that he's lowborn, so he wouldn't be invited to such meetings and all the rest of it, but if the Queen is making that decision, she could facilitate that. She could have him there and she could allow him to speak. I felt that was missing. I felt he should have been presented, because he got down on one knee and all the rest of it. We don't need to see him do that again. That for me was all that was missing from this. But still a solid 9. My criticisms are very, very few. And I quite like the Millicent narrative. The show's very clever at manipulating us. Hey, Nadia's popped in. Team Small Folk. Nadia, good to have you. I think this is your first time in my chat. We've got to have you on the channel. We've got to get you on, Nadia. So you've got to come on sometime. Carla, it'd be great to see you in the chat next week. Do come on.
Glad she's feeling better.
Was Nadia poorly?
She had a couple of days. She was sick from the vid, but she's 100% now. So.
Nadia, do you want to, before we sign off, do you want to come on quickly and tell us what you thought of this episode? I'll send you the link if you want. Let me know. Yeah. If you want to just come on, I'm quite happy to stay on for another 10 minets while you just tell us, give us your thoughts. You've got her on your Twitter, X-Twitter, haven't you? You send her the link.
If she wants to. I forgot. Let's see.
You don't have to come on camera or anything. Just tell us briefly your views if you wish to.
It's only an ear infection. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's only an ear infection. Your mouth is not infected, is it? You can still speak. You just can't hear what we're going to say, but that's fine. We only need to listen to your opinion. Our opinion does not matter. Did you give the results poll? No, I haven't yet. I will check that. I think it's a bit of a given though. The crown line seems to be the winner for people.
Yeah, if she wants to extend, I don't know if she's busy or if she just hopped in chat, but it's up to her. So
okay, so Nads, if you want to come on, you've got the link. Blue's just sent it to you. So the crown crushes whoever wears it is currently at 64%. Nothing is clean here is 21%. They're not playthings for games of men is at 14%. So there you go. There's a Nadia's going to come on. Wicked.
I said to her, yeah.
Great. We'll hang on. We'll hang on for a little bit.
I told her, plus her video last night. I like having the replays. I'll listen to hers when at work tonight. I got so busy with Gooch. Our buddy had his first news stream last night. Really fun.
Nadia.
Hello.
I'm going to put you at the top.
Hey.
Okay.
Thanks for popping on the channel. I think it's your first time on here, isn't it?
Yes, I think so. I believe so.
This is how interactive the Outcasts chat service is. You say it here, you hear it here. You know what I mean? Say it there, you hear it here. You know what I mean? in mere seconds, you're from chat to the stream and back.
Nice meeting you, Nadia.
Nice meeting you too as well, Leroy.
Nadia, you've been reviewing this show weekly as well, I believe.
Yes, my panel goes live right after the episode ends.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you're doing it at what the time of which is called horrendous o'clock over here in the morning. So there's not much chance of me tuning in, but that's a great time to jump on and do it.
I feel very bad for most of my panel because most of them are East Coast time. I'm on the West Coast. Yeah, okay. So when the episode ends, it's still roughly around 7:30 here.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you safe from the fires?
I'm sorry?
Are you safe from the wildfires?
Yes, I'm in Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what they say. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, except for your opinion of House of Dragon, which we'd love to hear. So, take it you're a fan of the show overall.
I'm a fan of season 1. I have not read the books. I plan on reading the books after the next episode ends and getting into Game of Thrones and House of Dragon. So, my opinion is only from somebody who's just watched the shows.
Sure. Same. I've not read the books either. I'm purely a shows guy. So
I never read the books neither.
So yeah. So you sound like season 2. You're not as warm as we love it here. What are you saying?
I liked the start of it. However, the last 2 episodes, in my opinion, have been very boring. A lot of fluff. For instance, this last episode, I was expecting something to happen. And while I enjoyed the last 20 minutes of it when they were dealing with the Dragon Riders, a lot of it was just filler and just dragging things on. I feel that they could have spent this episode maybe expanding more on the 3 dragon seeds versus just giving us more Alice. Like, I can't stand Alicent.
I like you already.
Yeah, I think she's
Leroy's not a fan of Alicent either.
I'm not a fan of the White Worm. I don't think she's particularly.
That's my talking about.
That's interesting, actually, Nadia, because I have said this throughout this season. I'm not a fan of the character. I don't think she's adding anything whatsoever. She's also quite contradictory. She didn't even make a difference because she got back to the castle after the event.
Yes.
Certainly in the chronology that it played out, it felt like the scenes were a bit out of order there. I'm not quite sure what happened, but and I also don't think that the actress is that great. So for me, she's just kind of an annoyance that is of little consequence. I'm hoping that down the road there's going to be more to her, and she's going to be one of these witches that's lived for a long time and is manipulating shit behind the scenes. But yeah, I find her character completely unnecessary. The show would be fine without her character.
Yes. I don't also like the fact that Damien was a very strong male focused character in season 1, getting things done, and I'm tired of his little haunted house adventures going on right now. Like,
yeah, that has been a criticism of us as well. We've got a bit bored with those scenes. I quite like the one that they had today, though.
So do I,
because it was very short.
Place.
it was very short, and it was the line, you know, the crown crushes whoever wears it was a nice line of dialogue.
I love seeing Patty back. I thought having him back was great, but I worry because normally an episode before a season ends, like the episode prior to the season finale, usually sets up stakes that you're gunning for the next episode. You're like, oh, what's going to happen? What's the, you know, there's usually some sort of little bit of cliffhanger happening. And I felt nothing in this episode, to the point where the last 2 episodes, if I did not have my own panel, I would have dipped out already and just waited for the season to end and just binged it. So
for everyone in chat, I forgot to mention that Nadia does have a disability. She has no heart.
yes.
So it's very important.
That's what my panel tells me too.
Very important that you know this. Her previous YouTube channel was called The Ice Maiden.
Yes.
But she only had 3 subs, and 2 of them left after a week, so she had to change it. So she's actually in disguise, but she is actually an ice witch. So it's very important you know this. What did you think of this character and this actor?
Again, I think he's great. I think a lot of side characters are very good. And I would have liked, if they wanted to fill the episode a little bit, give me a little bit more background into these characters then. Instead of just focusing on
Alison taking a bathe in the lake with her little tent and so
or
forth.
Eamon's tantrums, or it just, or Christian Cole. Like he's such a, I don't know if I can swear on this, but I just feel everything's just very bland, and it doesn't have the punch that the first season had. And I feel that they're just dragging it out because they want to do 4 seasons of a book that could, if you're not going to start from the beginning of the book, I don't know why they didn't start with Aegon's Conquer and just lead it into this. This particular part of the book could have easily been 2 seasons, and that's
sorry,
it.
Didn't you say you'd not read the book?
I have not read the books. I have multiple people on my panels who have read the books. This is exactly what they have said, where this Dance of Dragons could have been easily 2 seasons and we're done. But if you're going to drag it out, give me interesting characters to care about. I don't care about anybody in this season whatsoever.
You are.
That's interesting. I'm quite invested in some of the characters myself.
So am I.
But I do think some of them are underwritten. And
yes,
you're right. I mean, unless it's going to tie into something really specific, we could have quite easily just had a scene with Alicent leaving the city discreetly. We didn't necessarily need to see a scene of her swimming and, you know, having her little tent affair. And I also argued quite strongly earlier that there's no way that queen is going to sleep in a tent in rough ground when she's had a feathered bed all her life and had a life of privilege. She's not going to go, you know, on a Duke of Edinburgh's award scheme overnight camp. I mean, they justified that by everything that's gone wrong, and she just wants to get the hell out of there and maybe not come back. So I'll let that slide, but because there has been enough that's gone wrong for that. But still, yeah, we'll see. Interesting. Okay, well, I always welcome opposing views. We've been breaking down Spartacus on Sundays. I don't know if you've ever watched it or if you're a fan, Nadia, the Andy Whitfield Spartacus that would have dropped in 2011. It's kind of very kind of 300 stylized.
Never seen it.
It came out in 2009.
Well, dropped to 2010 over here. Yeah, we're doing 2 episodes of that a week on Sunday, and it's got really strong characters, very good dialogue. But we had a historian on who wasn't a big fan of it, but he is going to stick it out. So he is coming back. He's coming back next week. So we'll see. I suspect it might grow on him, but you know, if everybody's like singing from the same song sheet, it wouldn't be any fun. Leroy's the biggest fan of the Acolyte. He's like the president of the Acolyte fan club society.
I wouldn't go that far. I just say I like it better than Andor.
I have not seen either. I think the last Star Wars thing I watched was the Mandalorians last season, and only partial of it, and then I just dipped out.
You don't know what you're missing with the Mandalorian, girl.
I think you.
I went from a pop culture channel to a horror channel, and I just focus on the genre I love.
So Nadia, seeing as it's your first time here, just tell us a little bit about your channel, please. And do you want to put the link in the private chat, and then I'll whack it in the chat for you.
Sure. Give me a second. So I run a horror channel. I just started. I have about 13 years of experience doing special effects makeup in Hollywood. And doing haunted houses and stuff like that.
I should get you on for an interview, because I've been trying to get a makeup artist on for ages.
It's been a long time. This was when I was very young.
That's right. You're still very young. It's fine.
I love horror. It's the genre that I grew up with. It's the one I enjoy the most. So I started a channel where every Tuesday I drop a new segment on the genre of like what's going on in books, movie, TV, and then I do movie reviews on the channel as well.
Fab stuff. I'm gonna drop that in the chat right now. So it's called Nad's House of Horror, or words to that effect.
Horror with Nads.
Horror with Nads. Funnily enough, we had Buster Gonad on the show earlier. But
I saw that, and Dog Soldier is one of my favorites.
Oh, that was Neil Marshall, who also did.
Sorry,
the Descent. Neil Marshall's not Buster Gonad. I mean, Buster Gonad's a different person, but the Descent is one of my favorite horror films. So, really do you have a favorite horror film?
That's an interesting question, because I have favorite horror movies in certain genres, because you know how horror is like an umbrella and there's subgenres. I would have to say The Shining is probably one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I just recently saw Alien for the first time, and I thought it was one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen in set, because it's like my background, set design, just set design and effects. It was just so gorgeous, and the storytelling was great, and the sound mixing, you can actually listen and hear people without having to put subtitles on, which is great. And I'm actually going to do Aliens this Saturday, which I've never seen.
Oh my God.
Alien Romulus.
I don't know if you know this, but Gail Ann Hurd, who produced Aliens, is coming on my channel for an interview on the 25th of September.
Oh, I'll be tuning in because I'll have some questions. Just the set design alone, at least for the first one. Again, I haven't seen the second one yet. I will this weekend. But just the set design and lighting choices, color palettes, perfection.
The set design and photography for Aliens is equally amazing. And the interesting thing is that the DOP got fired like a couple of days into filming of Aliens. And the new DOP who came in, it was like his first major feature film, and he did an amazing job. And the son of that DOP, Alfie, was my DOP on one of my films.
Oh, so, that's crazy.
And I didn't know that when I hired him, and we were driving down to France to do this shoot. And I was like, so, what did your dad do in the industry? Because I'd been talking about my dad for half an hour or something and how much I missed him. And he went, oh, yeah, no, my dad was a DOP. That's how I got into it. Oh, right, cool. Would he have, has he done anything I would have seen? And he goes, oh, well, yeah, some big films, Aliens, Thelma and Louise. And I was like, oh, yeah, I think I've heard of those. I think I was the only person on the crew who didn't know that this was, this was the son of that guy. So that is Nadia's channel. Do please give her a sub. She's at 236 subscribers. Be great if we could get her up to 300 ASAP. Have you been to see Longlegs? Everyone's raving about it.
Yes, I loved it. However, I saw it when I was sick, so I need to see it again before I do a video on it. I think the marketing was very well done for this movie. I think the marketing was just spectacular for it. I don't think it's a Silence of the Lambs. I actually would probably go more Zodiac, True Detectives, Mindhunters, and that kind of gritty drama, even Seven. But I enjoyed it very much so. My husband hated it.
It's funny, it has divided people. I've noticed that, but it's a bit of a Marmite film. People are either raving about it or they're. But I do want to see it, and I'm hoping to see it in the cinema, we shall see. Keithy has just subbed.
Oh, thank you.
So, and I think Carla, who also just subscribed to my channel, has also just subscribed to yours. Thank you, Carla. Awesome.
Well, I don't mean to be a bearer of bad news, but I do have to hop off because I have to do some recording. But
no, that's all right.
you.
We're literally going to wrap it up now. So we actually stayed on an extra 10 minutes so you could come on and say hi.
Thanks. But have a great day, everybody. I'm going to hop off now.
All
Thanks,
right,
Lance. Leroy, nice meeting you. Blue collar.
See you again. Come on again. All right.
Will do.
Fantastic. Always awesome to have new people on. Love having new people on. If you are starting a YouTube channel, even if your channel is super small, the one thing you can plug in my chat is you can tell me you've got a YouTube channel. I'll take a look at it, and if I think it's of interest, even if you've only got 50 subs and I like the look of what you're doing, I will invite you on at some point. So know that I will invite you on. But please, in the chat, if I have a guest on, don't start pitching your film script to my guest in the chat, as someone did earlier. That is a bit of a no-no. I had to delete those comments. Okay, I think we're going to wrap it up there. I like the way, Blue, you put this shot up for Nadia. I think that's what suddenly made her leave, that you put the Millicent storyline shot up. I can understand her criticisms. I'm not as I don't agree with some of them. I don't feel there's been any filler. I feel every scene has had a purpose.
Yeah,
and I could have argued that, but
yeah. For me, like this episode, I loved, but I do admit the past two I wasn't the biggest fans of, but I still said I'd like the show. I do admit, for me, five was my slowest episode, but I didn't hate it. But everyone's got their ups and downs.
Yeah, you don't have to have a channel to come on. I have people on all the time that don't have channels. Yeah. Most of my industry interview people do not have channels.
Well, that's where out. Like, so shots of this way. Where do you think this was located? Because this is a beautiful.
I think that's probably Wales.
Okay,
it looks like Wales to me. Those look like the Welsh mountains. It could be Cornwall, but I think that's Wales.
Yeah, that's definitely a lake too.
Yeah, I mean, that could be the lake or part of the coastline. This shot here really reminds me of Excalibur, the John Boorman film. He did a lot of stuff like this, the Lady of the Lake and all this kind of thing. So episode is boring is not a real critique. Anyway, but yeah, that's a good shot, but that's very much a CGI shot, very much so. All right, okay. It's gone 1 o'clock here, so time to call it a night. So don't forget, guys, we are back on tomorrow night with the Nielsen ratings. We're going to be talking about the spectacular Olympics opening, where the French thought it was appropriate to send Team Gabon down the Seine in what I can politely describe as a rowing boat with an outboard motor on it, while all of the other teams travelled on luxury boats, some of them with 3 decks. I know Gabon only had like 6 people in the team, but man, come on, man. That was proper bad. I don't think they were the only team that had a tiny boat. There was like 3 of them, something like that, but Gabon was the one I noticed. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. We're going to talk about the latest stuff we've been watching. I've been watching Cocaine Hotel, so we're going to talk about that.
I've been watching that.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It is a good show.
Need to see the last.
I saw the last episode yesterday morning.
Is the last episode, the final episode, is it out yet?
I don't think so.
No, because episode 7 is the last. I haven't seen it yet. Anyway, loads of other stuff to talk about. But as I mentioned earlier, I have another interview coming up. The first interview in August is going to be with actor Lawrence Monason. If I've got any fans of Mask, the movie, or Star Trek Deep Space Nine, or Star Trek Enterprise, Lawrence has been in all of those films, all of that film and those shows, as well as numerous other things, including Murder, She Wrote, and a whole load of other TV spots and shows and appearances. He's also done acting on stage. Really, really lovely man. Really look forward to talking to him. He's got a very interesting story to tell about working in Hollywood. And he's going to be on, I think it's August the 7th. My diary is not in front. Oh, here it is. Let me just double check the date and I'll tell you. But the stream is already up on the channel, so you can find it if you have a look. He's coming on Wednesday, August the 7th. So Wednesday next week at 10 o'clock UK time. So that'll be really interesting. We already have Gail and Hurd booked for September, but I expect to have several other interviews. I'm trying to get one a week because I'm trying to get to 100 by the end of the year. So we've just done industry interview 70. We've got 2 more booked already, so I've got 28 to get. I've got to get 28 more interviews before the end of the year, and we're going to hit 100. All right, fantastic. So that's it from us. Thanks very much for tuning in. Don't forget to tell the people that you care about that you love them, and we'll see you all again real soon.